viewers, this is Politics Today. Hapa tunachapa siasa. Our sign language interpreter is Ann Joki. I am your host, Jonah Simba. And of course, in the studio, tuko na the Secretary General himself, Free Kenya.
Nicholas Oyoo.
Nicholas Oyoo.
Thank you, Jonah.
Yes. Now, just before we went for the break, we were talking about...
the debt question.
No, actually, before we were talking about the debt question, of course, and then the politics issue, the big challenges to our economic recovery, because truth be told, we need to recover here. And when Azimio comes up with the housing levy and the fuel levy as their major ways of raising revenue, somebody needs to give them time. Yeah, somebody needs to give them time to work. Why talk about all this mandamano?
Jonah, you know, this is a situation where you talk about at every point of politics, the engagement of opposition and government is always about at every step of the way you must be put to check. Because, Jonah, if you remove the check, then you know what will happen. By the time you come back, you'll find people have gone, let's say, give an example. You were supposed to be going to Mombasa, and you ended up at Naivasha. Uko Vasha mahali, safari rally na vitu zingine. It happened to somebody. So what happens, Jonah? Yes. How do you go back? Yes. So really every step of the way lazima tuangalie, umebadilisha gari naangalia kuenda Mombasa, umeingia Mombasa Road, tunaona, unapitia express ama unashuka chini, unaanza kuenda Mombasa, unaelekea ukiendea Tiriva huko, Mlolongo, then we know you are going to Mombasa. You get the point, eh?
Right.
So for me, really, at every step of the way, the engagement must be there. So whoever is saying that they should be left to work doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. Fanya kazi, tuone kazi inafanyika. So when the arguments come that the issue about housing levy is a question that is being asked, it is because people are asking, have issues with what you are proposing as the way to recover. And you're not saying that you might not have seen something. We've seen recoveries that have happened that way, where you talked about the New Deal, for instance, in the US. Frederick, that was, I'm forgetting the name, Roosevelt, yes. Roosevelt,
who was de Klerk?
De Klerk was from South Africa, yes. So Roosevelt,
I just heard you mention
Roosevelt,
be on your case. Okay.
Roosevelt
yes.
led something called the New Deal.
Right.
And the New Deal was basically about making sure that there is something that is done with young people to ensure that they can do infrastructural engagements, and this helped the recovery of US when they had the biggest slump at that time.
Yeah.
The slump of the economy after the World War II. And really, after the World War I, sorry. And really what we are facing here may be that the president is talking about something of that nature. I'll give you another very infamous example.
Right.
The Nazi regime came to power in 1933.
Okay.
By 1937, the Nazi regime, people from the Germans would be able to travel and take holidays. The kind of recovery that happened in about 4 or 5 years was really about a lot of social amenities and engagements that were done with that regime at that time. It could sustain the entire world against itself and fight a war against the rest of the world. And that was the second time they are fighting the World War as the aggressors of the World War. So really, they had to have built a lot of, should I call it economy, for them to be able to do those things that they did. And people will tell you that even some of the rockets we are using to go to the moon and what have you actually started in the Nazi regime. There was what you call the V2. So really, it's not that these things cannot happen. We can look at those parallels. But then the question about the people is really important, Jonah. All those recoveries were about the people. It was about building the people and ensuring that the people can basically become useful to the government of the day. And that is what brings recovery. So when somebody talks about housing before you have fed these people and that kind of stuff, that's why it's been questioned. So me, I feel that yes, The Azimio are doing what they're supposed to do as an opposition, and they should push the government, and they should make the government answer questions, and they should make government face the questions of, are you really doing the right thing? So I feel that they are not in the wrong place. The only question that I have is the situation where government does not seem to want to involve everyone when there is need for everyone.
You know,
we are not saying that it's supposed to be a national government of national unity. No, we are not saying that. But then there is need to involve the country to ensure that the people who you cannot access within your own circle can also come from outside your circle. So you end up having all the talent that you need to take you to the next level.
that's okay. Actually, whenever you talk about the debt issue, many genuine Kenyans would panic. It's like this huge 10 trillion and counting is too huge. But then the leadership says, come on, we are not yet in trouble. We are still okay. We will recover.
Yeah.
And then the you know, when you look at that debt issue, and then you're talking about us recovering, you know, moving from where we are, you know, it sounds totally a huge challenge.
It is.
And then there's the issue of politics, because they are saying they should be given time to work. Do we have Saba Saba tomorrow, by the way?
Jonah,
We
we
have
have
the
been
Mandamano.
told that Saba Saba is back, and the issue is that Saba Saba is a very important day in the calendar of this country.
Yes.
It opened up a lot of political and spaces for people to democratic spaces for people to enjoy.
Yes.
You could attribute the current constitution to Saba Saba, because that's when the issue started towards basically securing the new constitution. So really, I feel that when it becomes a fight between the leadership and the opposition,
Right.
then we probably are failing in enjoying what Saba Saba is to this country. We are belittling what it is really.
I'm seeing a lot of issues here, because when people, will it be people walking, demonstrating, and then there's the issue of looming strikes here now. You know, we are seeing people, you know, looming strikes. We are talking about economic recovery. That is the push that we are having.
Jonah, the indicators are very clear. The red flags are coming up all the time.
Right.
And we have had the questions that have been raised by people like Jimmy Wanjigi and Okia Umtata. And people have begun to ask themselves, why not then audit this debt? Because Jonah, if you believe there is debt, if I was president today and I'm advising him, free advice, I don't know if he will take it. If he takes it, let him pay me a tume check kwangu.
Okay.
Call all the people who are dealing with this question. Jimmy Wanjigi took his issue to a parliamentary committee that means that this is a matter that now has been escalated to the point that a parliamentary committee now has a seize of this matter. But then the question is, where is this parliamentary committee? Where are they? Because they've been approached by Jimmy to look at the debt, and Jimmy was very clear when he said that you call us, call the finance ministry, call everybody you want, let us sit and look at this thing, because I've done an audit as Jimmy Wanjigi, I've paid for it, but then it is important that the country does audit on its debt. I feel, Jonah, that it is important that this is a matter that we deal with on the basis of agreeing that if there is a debt in this country that is not a debt that we are supposed to have procured and was not used for the right purposes, then we should say so, Jonah. Because when somebody tells you that we are still in control, and we are seeing that you now want to get into our pockets and take everything there, then there must be a worry that you are saying we're in control, but we are really not. Because you cannot be every place you want to tax here, you want to tax here, you want to tax here. Let me ask you one thing, Jonah. I don't know if you don't know to your kitchen, you go to your kitchen.
Right.
Has the LPG gone down?
Certainly not.
Now,
Okay.
when people are saying, then where are we? Because when you are talking, we had hoped that if your finance bill now goes through, then immediately LPG itashuka Okay, somebody said even when the Bible ikiekwa chini, so maybe we are still maybe
Right.
mkono inaenda pole
Now,
pole.
we are talking about bringing, financing this huge budget. And we are talking about these two issues.
And-
Fuel, and we are talking about housing. Now, this is the point. This is the question now. This is where the KK government intends to get the bulk of their money to bring us, to finance the budget. Here, you are going out there, Azimio is going out into the streets, demonstrating. First of all, what are the agendas they are demonstrating about? And what would you, as Nicholas, rather they demonstrated about? Because it's frustrating. These are our two agendas. These are the two main things that are going to bring economic recovery. By the way, you've already said it's not realistic. You don't see that fuel and housing are going to bring us out of debt. What am I seeing here? I'm seeing trouble.
There is real trouble, Jonah. You need to be very worried. There is real trouble because if it reaches a point that you want to tax fuel and you want to add fuel, what you're saying is this, that every person who is producing, who is doing factories, need to ship out because you're telling them that they can go and look elsewhere where it's cheaper, and they have done that. And it's been happening, not even with KK government, it's been happening for a while now in this country. That we have a situation that a lot of our investors are taking off and going elsewhere, and we lose these investments. So if you're talking about recovery and you're talking minus investors, then what are you telling Kenyans? Are you really convincing us that there's going to be recovery? So really, Jonah, the question must be that I feel that there is need for this discussion to be an open discussion, a discussion that is consultative, a discussion that is multi-sectoral, a discussion that involves a lot of our experts to come and sit and agree, surely, if we want to do recovery, then this is what we have to do.
And who is to organize that? Who is to
It is
organize
the president and it is the KK government. And possibly parliament can also organize that again. The question,
Definitely,
Jonah, I've always told you,
it can't be done without one, right?
one of those,
It
yeah,
can't
of
be
course.
done without one.
Yeah,
rider.
exactly. And what when they are talking about the talks that they've been push and pull about these talks, I think for us it has to reach a point. And I said this before, even in this show, that it is the need for the MPs. It is part of their duty to come and say that we are in this problem and we want to talk about maybe now to tell us about KK second bill, finance bill, which is coming in 2024, 2025,
Right.
so that we get into a situation where this discussion for the next 1 year is about those things, is about recovery of this country, and is about everyone getting involved, Jonah. And involvement is also about inclusion, Jonah. You don't tax people to the point that they want to run away from paying taxes, Jonah. Because you see, if you tax me too much, I'll find a way of running away from paying you taxes. So you think that you're going to get me? No, Jonah. Somebody told me that going forward, I will have my mattress account. And if I want to buy something, I pay you cash. And nobody, no government comes and bothers us. You get the point, eh?
Right.
So really, if
Maybe that's the trick Kibaki applied, or rather the intelligence he used when he brought down the interest rates, and that triggered the economic growth.
Exactly, Jonah. For me, it's about involving the country, it's about involving the experts. Even Moi, at one point when he realized the problems were coming after the structural adjustment programs had come in, and then they had a problem with the donors, and then there was no donor funding.
Yeah.
What he did was to bring a dream team, and that dream team helped him manage to deal with the economy at that point. So really, Jonah, sometimes it's not about you saying that you are hitting you are kneeling your chest and telling us that you're powerful and what have you, and this is a government that is what and what. No, it's not about those language and word and saying all those things. It's about saying that we have a job to do, and our job is to make sure that Kenyans in this country are going to enjoy what being a Kenyan is. And we may have a bit of some work to do, we may have a bit of some belt tightening, but then it has to be something that we are very clear that this is the road to recovery. We don't want to take a road to another area and we start saying that that's the road to recovery, and when we realize it's too late, we are very far inside problems.
Okay.
So really,
Are you clear with the agendas of Azimio in their demonstrations and their marches tomorrow?
I don't know, but maybe this is coming from Kamkunji rally that they had,
yes,
where they talked about questions of, first of all, they're withdrawing from the talks. I think they said about withdrawing from the talks. They talked about the question of bringing down the issue of taxation to ensure that nobody is going to, government is not going to get enough taxes. That is what they call, they dealt with the question of maybe finding a way of ensuring that people are going to be able to avoid paying taxes by even doing what they call carpooling. I'm not sure if Kenyans are doing carpooling already.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is getting to their supporters. I don't know what happens. Maybe now tomorrow is about now ensuring those measures get into place, John.
So certainly they have issues with the way this government is getting taxes, and yet that is the way we are winding up. Yet that is the way this government wants to bring us to bring the country out of, you know, the economic trouble.
But
So
Jonah, we talk about transparency. Each government should be transparent. Even when they want to do that, then people can understand.
Okay. Wow. I can only say that in one word: trouble.
Yes, it's really, we are facing trouble. Yes, Jonah. We have to accept there is some trouble.
All right, viewers. This has been politics today. One sentence as we wind up.
Trouble. We said trouble.
Okay, viewers.
We are facing trouble.
We need to come out of this trouble. Economic problems. Yes.
Don't
give us your views here on Science TV. Just check out Science TV Kenya. This has been Politics Today, and my name, Jonah Simba. See you next week. Bye bye.